is Reform's solution then to just get rid of people that Nigel doesn't agree with, like Ben Habib?
What Reform's policy is we have a leader who everyone is behind. He is almost universally popular amongst our members. That's actually really important, because not only will Nigel become Prime Minister, he will become Prime Minister with hundreds of MPs who are under no uncertain terms as to why they've been elected, with a clear mandate to fix the problems the country has. We are not going to spend all of our time fighting amongst ourselves like the Tories. If people want a government to constantly try to tear each other down, you end up with a disastrous government like the ones that we've had with the Tories for 14 years.
Reform hasn't been without its infighting, let's put it that way.
Nigel has almost universal support amongst our members. Our MPs.
Is the membership a fan club?
I think if you were Kemi Badenoch, you would give a limb to have the sort of support that Nigel has amongst our supporters. Why? Because people know what he stands for, they know what he believes in, and he knows, and our members, and increasingly now the voters, that's why we're now polling second in many polls across the country at all-time highs. The reason is because people trust Nigel when it comes to crucial issues like immigration.
Reform UK's vision, as articulated by Zia Yusuf, paints a striking contrast to the dysfunction and infighting that has plagued British politics for years, particularly within the Labour Party. While Labour flounders under the leadership of Keir Starmer, a man who, despite endless attempts to present himself as a competent alternative, lacks both charisma and a clear vision, Reform boasts a leader in Nigel Farage, who inspires unwavering loyalty among his members and supporters. Nigel's near-universal popularity within his party isn't just a reflection of strong leadership. It's a testament to his clarity, conviction, and refusal to bow to political correctness. In contrast, Labour remains a muddled coalition of competing factions, more interested in ideological purity tests and internal squabbles than addressing the concerns of ordinary Britons. It is telling that Zia Yusuf humorously suggests Keir Starmer would give a limb to enjoy the kind of support Farage commands. Labour's lackluster poll performances underscore its inability to connect with voters on critical issues. Starmer's Labour, desperate to appease woke ideologues, has abandoned the very working-class base it was founded to represent. Meanwhile, Nigel Farage and Reform UK have surged in the polls because they speak directly to the concerns of everyday people: immigration, sovereignty, and a broken political system. Unlike Labour, which clings to the same tired rhetoric and offers vague platitudes, Reform delivers a clear and actionable mandate to fix the country's problems. Labour's constant infighting and bland leadership have left it as little more than a hollow shell of its former self. For 14 years, British politics has suffered from disastrous governance, whether from Labour's past failures or the Tories' ongoing incompetence. In this chaos, Farage emerges as a beacon of stability and purpose. Reform promises to end the circus of political dysfunction, offering a government focused not on tearing itself apart, but on delivering real solutions. While Labour dithers and postures, Farage builds trust among voters who see him as a straight-talking patriot, with the courage to tackle issues that other parties fear to address. As Reform climbs to second place in national polls, Labour should be terrified. The rise of Nigel Farage isn't just a threat to Labour's dreams of returning to power. It is a direct indictment of their failure to lead, inspire, or even listen to the British people. While Keir Starmer struggles to define himself, Nigel Farage has already captured the hearts and minds of a growing majority. The message is clear: the days of Labour's complacency are over, and Reform UK is ready to take its place as the true party of the people. Now let's move on to the next news.
I love our country. I think we have a great country, but I think our country is in serious decline. I've still have a lot of friends in the Tory party and the Labour Party, and that's not going to change. They're my friends for life. But I believe that Nigel Farage and Reform is going to be the saviour of this country.
And what does it mean to you to have such a significant Tory donor now joining the ranks?
Well, it isn't just the fact that Nick's been a Tory donor and supporter, it's that he's actually helped to raise very large amounts of money for politics, for business. You know, this is one of the greatest fundraisers you could possibly have. And what Reform has done so far, we've done really without enough money, without enough ammunition. And if Nick can provide us with that, then I think we can go on to really big election win after election win. So I'm delighted to have Nick on board.
Nick Candy's declaration of support for Nigel Farage and Reform UK is a striking development in British politics, signaling not only his disillusionment with the traditional parties, but also a significant boost to the reform movement. In his statement, Candy passionately voiced his concerns about the serious decline of the country and expressed his belief that Farage and Reform UK are poised to become the savior Britain needs. His decision to back Reform UK, despite maintaining lifelong friendships within both the Tory and Labour parties, underscores the depth of his frustration with the current political establishment and its perceived inability to address the nation's challenges. Nigel Farage, never one to shy away from opportunity, seized the moment to highlight the strategic importance of Candy's support. Farage emphasized that Candy is not just a former Tory donor, but a prolific fundraiser who has raised very large amounts of money for politics and business. This, he suggested, is precisely what Reform UK has been lacking. Farage candidly admitted that the party has been operating with limited financial resources, describing their efforts as being without enough money, without enough ammunition. Candy's financial and strategic backing could provide Reform UK with the tools it needs to scale its operations and compete more effectively on the electoral stage. The implications of this alliance are significant. Candy's involvement brings not only funding, but also a level of credibility and influence that could attract other high-profile figures disillusioned with the Conservatives or Labour. For Farage, who has long relied on his charisma and populist appeal, the addition of a figure like Candy signals a move toward greater organizational structure and financial muscle, key factors in mounting serious electoral challenges. However, the shift also raises questions about Reform UK's broader strategy and appeal. While the infusion of resources is undoubtedly a game changer, Reform UK must demonstrate that it can translate financial support into political momentum. Farage's leadership, while effective in energizing a base, will now face the test of converting Candy's support into tangible results at the ballot box. This alliance has the potential to disrupt the status quo, but its success will depend on whether Reform UK can capitalize on this moment and sustain its appeal beyond its core base. Ultimately, Candy's decision to back Reform UK reflects a growing dissatisfaction among some influential figures with the mainstream political parties. For Farage and his party, this is an opportunity to evolve into a more formidable force in British politics. Whether this marks the beginning of a larger political shift or a fleeting headline remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: Nick Candy's support has injected new energy and stakes into the future of Reform UK. Thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts or opinions, feel free to share them in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more updates, and join us on Telegram for exclusive content and discussions. Your support means a lot.